Hello, everybody. Welcome to episode 72 of the Everything Medicare Podcast, and I am your host, Christian Brindle, where every single week I bring you a podcast where I discuss your Medicare, your Medicaid, your Social Security, and everything that has to do with that golden age called retirement. We were scheduled to have an interview be posted today, but the person that I was interviewing had to reschedule, so that's going to be being done tomorrow, which means it will be uploaded on Saturday, which means the interview we're doing on Wednesday will be uploaded a week from today, next Monday. So apologize for the change in schedule there, folks. So I just kind of had to wing it here and come up with an episode for you when I was not prepared. But I think it's going to be a good episode nonetheless. Today, we're talking about your costs as far as your Medicare premiums, co-pays, just overall expenses. You could call them medical expenses even. I get asked this all the time, as far as what can I write off, what can I not write off? Can I write off my Medicare premiums? Can I write off my Medicare supplement premiums? And I think it's a great topic for us to do a podcast about. Now, before I kind of jump into how this works, I kind of wanted to kind of give you I wanted to talk with you a little bit about something that I think is very, very important. People in this country, and I don't mean to get political on you. You know I try not to do that. And this isn't even a political statement, what I'm about to make. I don't feel that it is. But people in this country, folks, a lot of people anyway, not everybody, look at it as if, when it comes to taxes, they look at it as if, people get away with things, wealthy billionaires, 100 millionaires, people that are very wealthy people get away with not paying any taxes or paying very little taxes or so on and so forth. And my opinion on this is every single person has access to utilizing the tax laws. Everybody. It's not that the tax laws are specifically, beneficial if you make $10 million or more a year or whatever the case may be, if for these, the very, very wealthy. That is not the case here. There are tax laws that everybody can implement if they just had the knowledge and education to do so. That can lower, it might not eliminate your taxes completely, but it will dramatically lower them. Deductions are very, very, I don't want to use the word complex, but they can be complex for a lot of people. But for those of you who don't know what a tax deduction is very, very simple. It takes an expense, so let's say $1,000 in a year, and it deducts from your taxable income. So let's say you made $50,000 in a year. I'm just throwing out a number there. And you deduct $1,000. You have $1,000 tax deduction in a year. That $1,000 tax deduction is subtracted from your taxable income. So instead of being taxed on the full $50,000 worth of income, you're taxed on $49,000 instead, which means you pay a lower percentage. If not a lower percentage, you're just not taxed on as much of your income, The tax laws are there for people to be able to benefit them. Now, I am of the opinion that the information is not freely and openly put out there in a method and a way that everybody can understand, due to the fact that it benefits the IRS. It benefits the government if you don't know what you can deduct, because then you have to give them more money. And that's just a fact, folks. But I don't believe that people are necessarily a bad person because they take advantage of tax deductions. Okay? And you can too. Everybody on Medicare potentially can take advantage of a tax deduction, potentially. And some people don't qualify for this deduction that I'm going to talk about. But this is something that you need to understand and kind of wrap your head around, that you can take advantage of tax deductions of your own. You can end up saving yourself some money. as far as what you're paying on taxes, okay? I'm not going to say any more about it politically than that. So, how does this work? How do these tax deductions work? Well, it's pretty simple. This is basically the way the IRS formats this. Okay, to claim the deduction on someone's Medicare Part B premiums, let's start there, the $135.50 a month that everybody pays for Medicare Part B. To claim the deduction, your medical expenses have to be more than 7.5% of your adjusted gross income. Okay, so medical expenses, beginning in 2019, this threshold will be 10%. Okay, so it has to be more than 10% of your income. So they made it a little tougher to do that. This includes all out-of-pocket costs for prescriptions, including deductibles and copays, and Medicare Part B and Part C, which is Medicare Advantage, and Part D premiums. So basically what it's saying there is the cost has to be 10% or more of your adjusted gross income. Okay, now adjusted means that after your deductions, after your other deductions. So if you have other deductions, then that helps with that a little bit. So essentially, folks, you're taking on your Medicare Part B premium, $135.50. So pretty much everybody pays that, $135.50 per month if you're on Medicare. If you don't pay it, someone else pays it for you, like Medicaid, if you qualify for something like that. So the $135.50 a month, that's probably ballpark about $1,500 a year right there on its own. Okay, probably not 10% or more though on its own. So if you have a drug plan or a Medicare Advantage plan, you take the premium from that. If it's $20, $30, $40, $50 a month. If you have a Medicare Advantage plan with no premium, it's not really going to help you here. But if you have, let's say, a Part D drug plan that's $20 a month, you can add another $250, maybe $300, depending on the premium, maybe $400 or $500. This is based on a calendar year onto that, and you just keep adding. And then you can also take copays and add those on as well. Cost of prescriptions, deductibles that you've had to meet, copays, things like that. And for a lot of people, you might be able to break through that 10% and get yourself a nice little tax deduction there. It's really, really simple, folks. And this is something that I think that you should be looking into every single year you do your taxes. If you do it with a tax person, you need to make sure you're keeping track of this stuff. You need to make sure that you're adding this up every year and seeing if you can break through. Now, if you make a significantly high income, this is a tax deduction you probably can't take advantage of unless you pay just some ungodly amount for your Medicare Part B premium, which you might, but still it probably wouldn't exceed your 10% of your income. It just depends on the person. But a lot of people, millions of people on Medicare, can take advantage of this tax deduction. Okay? So, are the tax laws perfect? That's debatable. It depends on your opinion. I'm not going to tell you what I think about that, whether I think they're perfect or not. What I do know is instead of hating the game, why not learn how to play it better? Right? If you hate the game, you vote in elections and things like that. That's how you make your voice heard. But it doesn't mean that you don't need to participate in the game. You might not like the game as far as taxes and things along that nature, but it does not mean that you don't have to play the game. And it behooves you to play the game and play it right. I really encourage you to take advantage of this and make sure you're keeping track of this as the year goes on, because who knows, you probably could have been deducting this expense or these expenses for a couple of years now and you may have not even known about it. Folks, I apologize that this episode is shorter than our typical episode is. We will be bringing you an interview episode on Saturday and then another one on Monday, assuming everything goes as planned with our interviews. Like I said, I'll be doing an interview tomorrow with Tina Davis, who works at Regents Blue Cross Blue Shield of Utah, and I think that's going to be a really, really good, fascinating conversation. And then on Wednesday, I'm going to be interviewing Cody Askins, who's one of the biggest names in the insurance industry in general. He's accomplished a lot of things. A lot of people know who he is, and I think he's going to have some great insight, and we're going to have a great conversation on Wednesday. I really hope you enjoy this episode, folks. And even though it's short, it's still sweet. Has some good information. This is something that I think that you can use right now. If you enjoy our podcast, if you listen to us week after week, folks, as always, the best way that you can help me reach more people is give us a 5-star review if you're listening to us on a platform that allows you to do so. It helps us reach more people. We appreciate it, and I appreciate you. Thank you so much. I can't wait to bring you this new episode, this new interview on Saturday, and then hopefully, if everything goes as planned, another one on Monday. Thank you so much. Have a great week.